The only thing you need to succeed this year or next year, no one wants to hear it, but it's the truth, and it's discipline. Because with discipline, everything you're looking for is available to you. Unfortunately, discipline is something that a lot of people struggle with because life is so easy. Everything we're after is at a touch of a button. There's so many distractions out there. There's so many other opportunities given to us to ignore the things we know we should do. Ends up, most of us run away from the responsibilities, make the justifications for not doing what we know we should be doing, and then complain about the fact that we're not where we want to be. And the truth is that if each and every one of us could just look in the mirror and acknowledge the fact that discipline is the only thing probably missing from our lives that produces results, then we're in a better place to do something about it. And when people tell me I'm not disciplined, I ask them if they got a job. And then I ask them how long they've been in a job. And they'll 10 years, 20 years. And yet, for those 10 or 20 years, whatever length time it is, they've been able to get themselves up every single morning without fail and go to a place that they want to be and spend 8 hours of their life earning money, building a business with someone else. That's discipline. The reality is you've created that discipline because you know the repercussions of not doing that are going to be instantaneous, they're going to be extreme, and you're going to have to deal with the fallout of deciding not to do it. So to say you're not disciplined is just you creating a story in your head that's going to become your reality. When the reality is, if you look at your life, I can guarantee you're disciplined. If you're a parent, you're looking after your children. You're feeding them every day. You're getting them up. You're getting them bath. You're getting them to school. You're buying them clothes. You're doing all these things on a daily basis because the repercussions mean that you have to do it. So you create discipline. So we all have the ability to be disciplined. But the crazy thing is, when it comes to doing something that will impact our lives positively, our lives, and as a byproduct, the lives of those close to us, we struggle to do it. And we never question why. We never allow ourselves to delve deeper into the mind and ask ourselves, how come I can create discipline in areas of my life that I don't want to create discipline in? But yet when it comes to actually doing something that's going to impact my life in a positive way, I struggle with it. And then not only do I struggle with it, but then I project my frustrations and my fears on the others so that I don't have to take responsibility for them. A lot of us today, these days, we're struggling financially. Things are getting expensive. Our wages aren't going up to match the increase in cost of everything. And for the majority of us, discipline would have a massive impact on that effect. Because a lot of us spend our hard-earned money on substances that don't do us any good and eat away at our financial wallets. Think about the amount of us who are addicted to drink, cigarettes, food, cocaine, heroin, weed, whatever it is. They cost money. And we can justify emotionally spending our hard-earned money on these things that help us forget about the situation we're in. But we struggle to do something, and we struggle to just apply a bit more discipline in our lives. It means we don't have to spend the money on these things. How much better would your life be if you didn't rely on spending X amount of money on drink, X amount of money on tobacco, X amount of money on drugs, the food? This is where the emotional work comes in. Because a lot of guys, a lot of women, men don't want to acknowledge that the actions we take habitually are created from childhood traumas, from experiences from from many, many years ago that have become habits, that have become a coping mechanism. And the only way we're ever going to get over them is by instilling some discipline in our lives. The fear of losing these emotional crutches are so overwhelming for us that we ignore it. We pretend that we'll just get on, but we're willing to suffer. We're willing to struggle on our daily routines. We've become accustomed to not having enough money. We've become accustomed to not succeeding in the areas of our lives we want to succeed in. So much so that we'd rather stay there than do anything that's going to maybe impact it in a more meaningful way. That's because we're experiencing it. We're in the depths of the emotions, the feelings, the fears that we conjure up in our mind about what will happen if we lose our emotional crutches, which aren't crutches anymore at all. They're anchors. Once upon a time, those addictions were a crutch. They allowed us to cope with daily routines that we were struggling with. But somewhere along the line, though, that crutch became an anchor. It's something that's rooted us to a spot, an emotional anchor that doesn't allow us to set free. And I've used this analogy before. It's like we're a boat and we're going left and right, left and right. The wind's blowing, the open ocean's there in front of us, but there's an anchor holding us back, and we cannot seem to see this anchor. And it's just rooted there, and all we need to do is cut that rope, break the chain, and our boat will sail into the fucking yonder. But none of us can, well, very few of us can do this. And what we then tend to do is go onto social media for motivation, but what we end up doing is doom scrolling and attaching our sense of self-worth to videos of other people who are achieving the goals that we are chasing. And on an unconscious level, that just serves to cement into our minds that we're not good enough, that we can't do it. So instead, we live in the fantasy world of social media, where other people can tell us what to do, where we can go for advice and we can save videos of diets and recipes and training routines and images of people that we want to look like and bodies that we want to achieve, the spiritual world and the community and the mindset world. We save all these things with the idea being that we're going to take that advice and we're going to apply it, but we don't. We never apply it because we've never really an intention of applying it, because we're not willing to go to where we need to get to, or we need to be to get to where we want to go. This takes work. And the reason I'm talking about discipline now is because we're coming to 2025. And 2025 is going to be another opportunity, because it's symbolic. It doesn't actually mean anything, but it's just a symbolic gesture of New Year's resolution, New Year, new me, and all that stuff. But we've got to start applying those lessons now. We've got to start focusing the mind towards where we want to be in 6-8 weeks' time. What's going to happen for the majority of people is we're now so focused on Christmas. We're looking forward to the 2-week holiday already, or the week holiday, whatever we're going to take. We're looking forward to the Christmas parties and getting drunk and the Christmas dinners and the parties and the giving the presents. But it's basically a block. We're ignoring the reality. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have that high, Christmas high, where we all have the parties and the over-drinking, overeating. And we know it's going to come, the crash, because it happens every single year. And it happens every single year because we play out the same routine every single year. And right now, people are probably talking about next year is going to be my year. And we're going to be talking about how we're going to do this, and we're going to make sure that life changes. And 2025 is going to be the year I change my life. But how do you expect it to change your life if you're not willing to change the actions that you've kept hold of over the last decade, say? Dee, how you doing, mate? How do you expect to change something if you're not willing to change anything that you do? This is where discipline comes in. And you start forming discipline through easy wins. It's not that hard to set yourself up so that you win. I'm training Frey at the moment. And Michael McCartney from Glen Craig Training is a guy I go to, brilliant trainer. He's a positive reinforcement dog trainer. But he said something about there's training and there's testing. And training is setting the barometer so low that you can't fail. Because when you're training the dog doesn't understand what it's doing. I'll give you an example. I'm going to set this up. So this is the way Michael trains it. And you'll understand. If you've got a dog, you'll understand this, or you've seen him train. So most people go to a dog, sit, 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 and the dog's standing there. And you're going, sit, sit, sit. And the dog's looking at you, and you're hearing the word sit, 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 and he's standing. So he starts associating this with sitting. Instead, Michael goes, and he lets the dog offer you the opportunity. So you'll wait there, and the dog will sit. And then he stands up, stand. Sit. Stand. So what Michael's doing there is he's teaching the dog through the actions so it can't fail. It's impossible for that dog to fail because that dog is doing the action and then you're just applying the word of the action to his action. So he will start thinking, okay, I do this, that's it, I get a reward. Instead, we bark, 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 sit, 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 and the dog has no fucking clue because the dog doesn't speak English. So, when training a dog, you set up you set it up so that it doesn't fail. So that's what you've got to apply to your own life when it comes to creating discipline. You set it up so that it's impossible to fail. And we all know we can do that. Like, literally set your alarm for 5 minutes earlier than you're comfortable getting up at. 5 minutes. You're an adult. So the alarm gets up in 5 minutes, and you set the alarm the other side of the room so that you have to get up and turn the alarm off, and now you're up. And now you've set that, and now you start doing that. And then once that 5 minute less sleep or less time in bed has become your habit, you set another 5 minutes. And you set another 5 minutes. And before you know it, you're up an hour earlier. Where she's in sleep and brought her a walk there. Or you decide to, I don't know, cut your food by just a small bit. You know you're eating too much. You know you're eating too much. You know you're unhappy with how you look and move and feel. And you know that food and the choice of food you're making are leading to this problem. So you discover a way of applying simple habits. Changes, just small, moving the goalpost half an inch. So that it becomes your normality and it's not a challenge. This is what too many of us do. We come into the new year, 2025 this time, and we're going to go, right, that's it. I'm fucking knocking the drink in the head. I'm not smoking. I'm giving up the cocaine. I'm stopping weed, and I'm not eating fucking Greggs every day. There's absolutely no hope that anyone is going to succeed in that sort of goal. But what you're doing there unconsciously is setting yourself up to fail because your nervous system, your chemical responses, the biological actions of the body have been so used to something. You see, this is what you've got to recognize. You all know that I'm a spiritual guy and I believe in the soul, but I call it my training trinity. The emotional work is the foundation of the triangle, and then you've got the physical and mental going up, and the goal is to get an equilateral triangle with the spirit filling up the inside of the triangle. But when you're setting yourself up to do so, to make a change, you've got to recognize that it's emotional and that the biological effects, the chemical responses, the central nervous system's trained responses to stimulus have to be slowly moved. You have to move the goalpost further, just slightly further away until you get that goal, until you get to the end goal. Whenever you have an experience, you're going to have a chemical reaction in your brain. which is it's going to send signals from the brain to the nervous system, which is going to elicit a memory or a feeling that's going to be attached to an emotion that you've experienced before of a similar energy, and that's going to dictate how you respond. And this is autonomous. This isn't something that you think about. This happens on an unconscious level. And you are going to have to recognize that as a biological being who's both spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, all of this has to be encompassed together. And this is why so many people fail in their fitness journey, because the fitness industry doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. The fitness industry is focusing on one wee tiny element, and 90% of trainers don't have a clue about the emotional work, the mental work, the physiological responses, the chemical responses. They don't know about the nervous system. They don't understand about the imprintment of experiences that happen throughout your life and how your body responds to these and creates these neural pathways that gets you to act a certain way. It's all about safety. Your body must feel, your mind must feel safe. The emotional being must feel safe. And it's going to have done something throughout its whole life to elicit that response, even if the response isn't what you want. Somewhere along your journey, the response that you now has created a habit was created to keep you safe. And your nervous system, your mind, your emotional work, that all connected, it just recognizes that worked this time, we'll do it again, we'll do it again, we'll do it again. And slowly but surely that becomes your habit, that becomes your go-to mechanism. But somewhere along your journey, that go-to mechanism is no longer serving you any purpose. In fact, it's the emotional anchor and it's holding you in place. And the ability to be aware of that and to recognize that it is not where you want to go is going to give you the freedom to start changing things. Unless you're aware, go back to my 4 A's: awareness, acceptance, or acknowledgement, acceptance, and action. So when you become aware that this habit that served you for so many years is no longer serving you, the next part's acknowledgement. You've got to acknowledge it. You've got to actually consciously bring it to the awareness and go, okay, right, this is no longer helping me. And then you've got to accept, you've got to change things. And that's where the hard stuff happens. That's where the difficulty arises. That's where most people go, fuck that, and go back to bed and do all old habits. And then you've got to take action to change. And if you don't do all this, then you're condemning yourself to staying there. Now, this is overwhelming for a lot of people. I get it. I get that this is so overwhelming because it's become part of you. It's your go-to mechanism to just survive. But survival isn't what we're aiming for. We want to thrive, not just survive. And if you want to thrive, you've got to be willing to change things that are no longer helping you move forward. If you don't deal with your emotions deal with you. That's 100% true, Katrina, you're right. But this is the thing. A lot of people are not willing to even acknowledge this. And we've been conditioned to expect others to do it for us. A lot of people that struggle with me is because I am not a coach that's going to spoon feed you. I class my coaching as raising a child. So in the beginning, I will spoon feed you. I will see you as a helpless baby, for the analogy's sake. And I'll spoon feed you. And I'll do everything I can to help you grow. And as you become 5, 6, I'll give you a bit more freedom. You're still a child, we'll still help you. But then you become 10 or 11 and you need a bit more independence. And I need to start breaking those chains, and freeing you from the reins of control and allow you to step into your own strength, your own power. And then suddenly become a teenager, then an adult. And for the majority of my members in here, they're at the adult stage. The majority of my members don't need me to coach them. They're capable of doing it themselves. They stay for the community. They stay because what I offer is unique. It's different to other gyms. It's not the same gym experience. There's a lot of deep conversations going in this gym, a lot of challenging conversations, because ultimately the physical appearance you have is a representative of how you think and how you feel about yourself. And that's where my coaching comes into play. That's where I'm different to most coaches. I am a very, very emotional, spiritual, mental type of coach. I don't just focus on the exercise. I'm one of the best about when it comes to teaching. And that's not being big-headed. That's just recognizing that nearly 20 years of doing this job leads to a level of experience and wisdom that can only be achieved through time. You can't learn that from a book. You have to apply it. You have to experience it. But I've also done over 12 years of mental work, and I've also done nearly 12 years of the spiritual work. And I can see the path that most of us take. And although the experience is different, the journey we're on, the direction we're going is the same. And the roadblocks we're going to encounter, again, the experience may be different, but the energy of it's the same. And this is where I think society's been set up to distract us from this truth. We believe that we are the only ones going through what we're going through and thinking how we're thinking. And while that may be true on an individual level, the energy of how we think, the energy of what we experience is running the same through everyone. And this is why I can coach so many people from different backgrounds, because once you see the energy, and this is what I do, I see energy so clearly to people, I can pick it out and I can understand where they're at. And I know how to poke and prod to get them to where they want to be. But a lot of people don't want that, because a lot of people are running from the actual thing they're wanting to heal. The body you have is going to be a direct reflection of how you think and how you feel. And if you look in the mirror and the first thing you do is criticize your body, that's telling you how you think about yourself. And that then leads you to understand how you feel about yourself. And if you're feeling that low about yourself, how do you expect anyone else to help you? I've got a toolbox full of equipment, full of tools that can help you. But it can only help you if you're willing to do the work. I can bring you all the timber, I can bring you all the nails, everything required to build a house. But if I just set the wood down and I set the tools there, and then I sit and think about a building, it's not going to happen, is it? It requires effort. It requires action. And this is where so many of us are not willing to go. And it's so sad, because I empathize with so many people out there, because I've been there. I understand how difficult it is. But I also know intrinsically what happens to you whenever you commit. Because it's the commitment and it's the decision that you're going to do something differently that results in you becoming a different version of you. But that requires discipline. That requires you to look in the mirror and just go, right, this is up to me. And the crazy thing is, when you change that mindset, when you decide to look upon the experience differently, in a more positive way. I hate this positive, negative shit, but there is a mindset that is more open to a higher level of frequency, a better energy. When you do that, it's amazing how the universe answers you, and you suddenly find the people and the situations you need appearing in your life to push you forward. And this is universal. This is everyone. I know everyone's thinking, God, it's just me. Everyone else is better than me. And God, I'm the fattest, and I'm the ugliest, and I'm the most uncoordinated, and everyone's laughing at me. We're all the same. We all have doubts. But I would ask you to consider this. Most of us are experts in some aspect of our life, whether it be our work, relationships, marriage, whatever, parenting. But if you trace that back, there was a beginning. There was a time you were not the expert. There was a time you didn't have a clue what you were doing. There was a time you were just winging it. And when that happened, you didn't give up. You recognized that you weren't an expert, but you'd do something anyway, and you just went with it. And what happened was you learned through mistakes these valuable lessons of life, and you took those lessons and then you applied them down the line. And then what you found was it was almost like a shortcut. And before you knew it, that became your way. And then something else would happen, and you learned something else, and you learned something else, you learned something else. And this is how things happen. Social media, the fitness industry, and our emotional well-being have all come together to completely screw us up. Because we know as adults, nothing in life comes easy, or nothing worthwhile having comes easy. Easy come, easy go, as they say. And we tend to look at people's success stories based off their Instagram, based off their TikTok, based off their Facebook, and we take it at face value because inside of us, we're not feeling confident about who we are. We're not liking who we are. So what we do is we pin our hope onto the stories that we see other people experiencing and how easy their life is. Look at me, I got myself in shape in 6 weeks. Did you really? Or did you just go on a really calorie restricted diet, really high intensity training, and achieved a certain look for a very small window of time? Because I'm talking about here now, this is my expertise. In 18 years, I have coached thousands, and I have helped people achieve the six-pack look in 12 weeks. But you know what I've found? The majority of those guys that got the six-pack look in 12 weeks, they resorted back to their old self within 6 months. Because they hadn't formed the habits. The goal of that workout was very simple. It was to achieve a certain look. It was for a photo shoot. It wasn't longevity. It wasn't to walk around there the rest of your life like that. It was a very small window of time to look at. Bodybuilders, we look at bodybuilders and we go, holy shit, they're amazing. But they're like that for a day. They only look like that for a very small window. The majority of the year, those guys are chasing muscle. They're trying to build muscle. They're eating calories. They're bulky. They're taking gear. They're juiced up. And their face, got those sus cheeks. And it's only when they start taking the gear and they're coming into that cycle where they need to appear great on stage. But we don't see that. And we attach our emotions and how we feel to how they look. And then we wonder why we can't achieve that result. That's years and years and years of dedication and discipline. And the reality is, most of us don't want that. That's the truth. The vast, vast majority of guys that I know do not want to achieve that result because it requires too much dedication. It requires too much sacrifice. And if you're truly honest, most of the guys who do that are emotionally fucked up, and it's a form of punishment. You'll get the very odd few people, men, women who do bodybuilding because they love it, the Arnie sort of effect. But the vast majority of guys that I know who do bodybuilding, they've got issues coming out of every orifice. And that is their way of feeling better about themselves. And that's where the fitness industry has gone wrong. The fitness industry is presenting to the masses an unrealistic goal. And all it's doing to serve is it's making most people feel they're inadequate because most people can't achieve what is presented on the tin. I can only tell you from my personal experience and my experience from coaching hundreds and thousands of guys. I'm usually happiest when I'm not ripped. I don't want to be ripped, because being ripped means I can't eat McGreg's festive bakes. I can't eat my bars of chocolate, and I enjoy them. They're part of my life that I'm not willing to sacrifice. So I'm willing to look in the mirror and go, do you know what? I probably will never be that sub 5% body fat with veins all over my body. But then, how does that serve me? What good is that doing to my everyday life? What does make me feel good is, as a 47-year-old man, being able to take my kids to swimmers and walk about in my shorts and not have that belly hanging over my balls, and not feeling paranoid because I'm this out of shape, overweight guy whose body's being presented to the world. When I was carrying too much weight, I was self-conscious. And it took me to go into the emotional work, the spiritual realm, and deal with all that shit that I had to deal with, to get myself to a place where I can now, food isn't an addiction anymore. And I'm comfortable with who I am, but it takes years. And this is why I'm so frustrated with the fitness industry, because this is my life. I'm not one of these fly-by-night guys who have done a 6-week course. I've been doing this from 2007. I've been coaching guys from full-time from 2007. I created my first gym back then before it was popular to have a gym. And I always remember back to when I was a professional fighter, coaching professional fighters, and the image that I presented, the shape I was in, to the outside world, I was in great shape, good-looking guy, confident, cocky, funny, witty, sarcastic. But inside I was broken, inside I was empty. Inside I was so insecure, I hated myself, I hated the reflection. It was never good enough, because I was comparing myself to guys who were literally stepping onto the scales to get weighed in. And these guys were ripped and they were cut down, but I was still comparing myself to them. And that's a microcosm of the macrocosm. Everyone in us, every man and woman and child, we are created, we are built to compare ourselves to each other. It's inevitable. So when you can make peace with the fact you're going to compare yourself with others, and you then can allow yourself to recognize that you don't have to attach the emotion to the comparison, you understand? It's like, you can look at someone and go, yeah, they're in good shape, but you can still look in the mirror and go, so am I. And you can look at some guy and go, fuck me, he is in phenomenal shape. But then you can look in the mirror and go, do you know what? I look good, and I've sacrificed, and I've dedicated, and I'm disciplined, and I'm doing things that are pushing me forward. And you can maybe use that guy instead of a comparison to make yourself feel lesser. You can start using these people as motivation or realization. Because a lot of people want to be motivated to achieve a shape that isn't going to serve them. And instead, the realization going, wow, them guys are in good shape, but that's not what I want. If you're a normal guy in his 40s, 30s, whatever, and you're comparing yourself to a bodybuilder who's 25 or 30, who's stepping up on stage, and you suddenly realize that it's decided that I'm not good enough anymore because he's in better shape than me, you're missing the bigger picture here. What is going to serve you? What will make your life better on a day-to-day basis? For the majority of you out there, it's going to be this. Drop 1 or 2 stone, increase muscle mass, improve mobility, and build a relationship that's better with food. That's it. And that is an achievable goal for us all. And get yourself off fucking Instagram or stop following these gab-shite coaches who are just so insecure, and trust me, I know they are, who are so insecure and needing you to validate them and then reversing it on you. If you're a dude, if you're a parent, if you're a father, if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, you don't need that much to make yourself feel better. I used to have a slogan called build a bit, lose a bit, get a bit. Build more muscle, lose more fat, get more sex. That is what the majority of men in their 40s require. Because the majority of guys in their 40s are going to be married. They're going to have kids. They're going to have a full-time job. They're going to have golf at the weekends or five-a-side football or something. Maybe not, it's a bit of jiu-jitsu. But They don't need much. They've got a wife. Most of us are never going to cheat on our partners. We've no desire to cheat on our partners. We're just not happy with ourselves. And if we can just lose a bit of fat and we can build a bit of muscle so that when we're wearing a shirt, wearing a suit, we look good. You can feel confident walking into the boardroom, or you look good when you're walking down the street. Summertime comes along and you're wearing a nice fitted t-shirt. You don't have the belly hanging over you. That's all you really need. And then if the wife can look at you and go, fuck yeah, he's hot. I want to have sex with him and not need a half a bottle of vodka down my neck. That's a bonus. And I can help any man achieve that. Any man. In a year, in 12 months, I can have any man who's willing to do the work into such a completely different shape than they are now. But see what I just said there? A year. And that means most people turn off because the fitness industry has told you 12 weeks. The fitness industry is telling you 6 weeks. The fitness industry is promising you unrealistic goals for the majority of people out there. But because we are not feeling confident in ourselves, because mentally we don't love ourselves and emotionally we don't love ourselves, we are looking for someone else to give us a quick fix in the belief, in the hope that fixing ourselves physically will fix ourselves mentally and emotionally. Doesn't happen like that. In fact, in my experience, longevity, long term, it's the inverse. I've went through many years of my life. Over COVID, I was 107 kilo. I was a fat bastard. Big belly, strong as fuck, strong as hell, but a fat mess. And it was during COVID when I first started doing ayahuasca and started this spiritual journey. And it's only been the last year that I have now stepped into this ability that I can look in the mirror and feel confident. I'm in good shape now. I'm 47 years old and I'm in better shape than most guys in their 30s. But I've been chasing that physique for years. And all the advice, all the knowledge, all the wisdom I had, I couldn't get it there, couldn't apply it to myself because emotionally I was not in a place that loved myself. Yeah, don't do pressing, don't do pulling, go see a physio. Yeah, and honestly, like if you've got rotator cuff and tennis elbow, you need to go see a physio and apply what they tell you over a period of time. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. I done my rotator cuff about 7 years ago. Water skiing, egos that got me. We were doing, the tubing, and there used to be a coach here, Gareth. And Gareth and I we were really good together, and we were always push each other. And Gareth he got a good run and fucking was bouncing over and holding on like crazy. And it was my go, and I was holding on and I got tipped off. And rather than letting go, I decided, no, I'm going to stay on and get myself back on. And I just felt my rotator cuff go, pow. A year and a half, I couldn't do anything. Fucking went from pressing fucking 40 kg kettlebells to not being able to press 16. Had shit posture, my left shoulder a bit more forward than the other. That's where the problems has formed. That's not where the problem lies. The problem be somewhere else in the body, and it's going to be because of your job or you're ignoring the postural problems that you're not addressing every day. You've got to just if you go to a physio, I'm not a physio, so I don't like to give a physio advice, especially if I can't see it. I'm pretty good at assessing bodies. Again, 20 years of doing this job has allowed me to see things, though, but I'm not a physio, But yeah, men, discipline. Let's go back to that. Build a bit, lose a bit, get a bit. Build more muscle, lose more fat, get more sex, because that is all we need as men in their 40s. Hold on to that as your foundational understanding what you need for exercise. And then play your game on that. Don't ignore all these other coaches that are telling you what you need and what you should do, and just focus on you want to lose a bit of fat, you want to build a bit of muscle, and you want your wife to find you a bit more attractive so she doesn't need half a bottle of vodka down her neck to have sex on a Saturday night. That will make most men happy. That is what most men, because we're simplistic creatures. And the truth is, most of us do love our wives, and we love our partners, and ultimately, you can live in fantasy world that some girl on Instagram fancies you, but the truth is you've got a woman who does love you, and you married her for a reason. And if she can find you attractive and she looks at you and goes, hey, yeah, you look great, that's all you really need. We're very simplistic creatures. Don't overcomplicate your training. Don't overcomplicate your exercise. Don't overcomplicate your diet. You're an adult. We know what to eat. If I say to you, listen, you want to lose a stone? Well, here's Mars bars, or here's a home-cooked meal with broccoli, steak, and potatoes. What one should you eat on a regular basis? Do you know? It's not that complicated. We overcomplicate things. Now, the emotional work, that's complicated. That's deep. That's where the challenges lie. But we can make small inroads. And if we're aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it, we are then in a position to change. Example, anyone can lose a few kilos in a week or two. You just need to cut back on the food. But we've got the ability to make a change for a couple of weeks. This is why a lot of people come to me, they get a diet plan with that. I fucking hate that line. Do I get a diet plan with that? No, you fucking don't. Why not? Because I'm the 10th gym you've been at, I'm the 30th trainer you've been to, and I've got about the 50th diet plan you've had, but yet you're still looking at diet plan because you're still fat, because you're still overweight. Because no matter what you seem to do, it doesn't work. Because diet plans don't work unless you understand what you're doing behind a diet plan. If you can understand this diet plan is giving you advice on how to change your eating habits, and you can apply that, and it's a sensible diet plan, which most of these gyms do not give, because most of the gyms are looking at diet plan, are going to give you a diet plan that is going to shift a lot of weight in a short period of time, because their goal is to get you with as much weight off you as possible, to make as much a change as possible in as short a time as possible, so they can take a photograph of you. And for some reason, recently I've seen this, it's like a placard, or like you're fucking going to jail. I get embarrassed by, I'm sure the people who are doing it feel uncomfortable, but they do it because the coaches, they've got this sort of emotional bond there or something. But when I see these, I have lost 6 pounds in 3 weeks, some grown woman or some grown man, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Do you know, the gyms of today are looking, you're the commodity. You are there, they are focusing on you because they want to advertise your results so they get more people like you. And they don't give a fuck if you're back to the weight you were 6 months after you've left them. It's not about helping you. It's pretending to help you. Yes, on the short term, it does help you. You feel good for a while. But what happens when you fall back on that? You put that weight back on. Oh, I'm not good enough. The fuck are I doing out there? I'm not good enough. I'm fat. Who do you go back to? You go back to the guy you went to because he got that weight off you. But he didn't really. He just fucking starved you and pushed your body to a point where you were exhausted. Yeah, you looked a wee bit better, but did you feel that much better on a day-to-day basis? You might have felt better when someone told you look great for a small window of a month, but again, that's you having to rely on someone else to make you feel better about yourself. Lost a stone and weight due to house moving, devastated. It's emotional. But you didn't really lose it because of the house move. You lost it because the house move caused you to not eat. And you lost weight because you're in a calorie deficit. That's what happens. That's the truth. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. Simple. But you can't stay in a calorie deficit all your life. I've been really contemplating, do I want to stay in this fitness industry anymore? Maybe it's the Aquarius, the Pluto moving the Aquarius, and the karmatic cycle ending, we're in the new age now, new energies. But I'm really starting to question, am I happy in an industry that's basically lying to people to make money off them? Because the majority of people, the only pounds they're losing are the ones out of their wallets as they chase this elusive dream of the perfect body. And I don't believe the majority of the fitness industry is doing the vast majority of us justice, because they're lying. We're presenting false hope. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a good few coaches out there, I know, who are like me, they're honest. And they just tell you how it is. But for the majority of us out there, we're uneducated in the fitness industry. We're uneducated in what actual exercise is, what training is, what diet is. So we're reliant on other people to tell us. And if we can get you drastic results in a short period of time, you're going to believe that we're experts. But we're not. They're not experts. They're just using a cookie cutter program, a cookie cutter diet plan that's heavily reduced in calories and very high in intensity. And as long as you follow it for the 6-week period, and they've got the check-ins and they've got all this bullshit going on, then you're going to, I won't mention the gym. God, I hate this industry. They've got a fucking chart on their wall. And if you don't turn up, their coach gets deducted points, and therefore he doesn't win Coach of the Month, or he misses his bonus. So they're now applying an emotional pressure to the client to turn up, so that the coach that they've been allocated gets the points he needs, so he can get the bonus he requires. It's all fucked up. It's just all fucked up. And I really don't like being part of it anymore. I don't like the energy, the fitness. Now, let's go spiritual. I do believe it's going to change. I do believe that what's going to happen over the next 19 years, but the next year, we're going to see a complete shift. And the lies and the bullshit and the corporate crap that's been plaguing our society for the last 16 years, I think it's going to change. I think we're going to see massive shifts. And maybe people like me who have been true to what I've always said, regardless of the cost, the impact it's had on my business, I think we're going to start flourishing a bit more. Hope so anyway. But I can feel myself shifting from the focus of fitness to more a house of healing. I'm feeling myself drawn. I'm feeling myself being guided towards another avenue, another path. And like I've always said, my goal is a retreat centre. That's the ultimate goal for me, is a retreat centre. I keep on putting it out there every day. Manifesting a retreat centre. I want, I would love a place where you've got an amalgamation of it all. And that's where I'm going towards. I've got in my head, I've got it. We've got a wee forest, a wee orchard, wee stream running through it, a round circular home, land. In that forest, I've got a gym built mainly of natural objects. You can come and do the sound therapies, you can do the mental work, the emotional work, the medicines, and the training. And that's my goal. I don't feel this is serving the masses anymore. Oh, of course, it has to be a circle. The energy has to flow properly. And I think you're going to find that those who have lied to make profit for themselves off the back of others' pains are going to start being exposed. I hope so anyway, because I think as a society we deserve more. I think as individuals we deserve more. And I know that if we can connect on a deeper level, if we can remove the superficial and start recognizing what is truly important to us all, we're going to be in a much better place. And what is truly important to us all is connection. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your success is. I don't care how much money you've made. When you're in your deathbed, you're not going to be wanting to be surrounded by your money and the materials. You're going to be wanting to be surrounded by those that loved you, those that you love. When you're down, money doesn't fucking help you, but a hug does. Being comforted and being held and being allowed to express the emotion, that makes you feel better. And I've just got this feeling inside, this is where we're going. And I've got a feeling that people like myself who have been true to this energy and have been speaking like this for God knows how many years, it's going to start coming back to us now. And that we're going to start waking up as a society, as a species, not even a society, as a species, we're going to start waking up and realizing what truly, truly matters. The energy's shifting. I know a lot of people don't believe that. That's fine. But just because you don't believe it doesn't make it nothing true. We're energetic beings. The planets, I don't believe are planets. I believe the planets are portals of energy that change the frequency of the earth. And it's shifted. And we're going to start seeing that shift happening over the next year. And you're going to start seeing the institutions start collapsing. You can see it already happening. You can see it happening now. But we're going to start waking up to recognizing that it's not just about the physical. The physical is the representation of the mental, and the mental is the representation of the emotional, and the emotional is the representation of the spiritual. When you make peace with yourself, when you make peace with God, not Jesus, whatever, I don't care what God you believe in, but when you just make peace with the fact that you are connected to the all, and that we are all part of the all, we're all connected, and that is why it's so important to speak well of others, because you're actually speaking to yourself. I think we're going to see the world wake up very soon. Why knights sat around table? Because the devil can't hide in corners. Oh, yes, that's 100%. I've got hope now. I've got hope that we're about to step into a new way of being, a more connected way of being, where community and connection comes before corporation. We're very corporatized now, and everything's about impressing others so that we make something. It's very materialistic. And it's a superficial conversation we have on social media. I came off that fucking platform LinkedIn because it is just full of fucking circle jerks who just are lying and spreading this cancer throughout society. It's all about, the foundational energy is about money, about self. And you can see what happens when we focus on self in a selfish way. We can lie. We can say these words that sound great. They've been conditioned to hold energy, but underneath it all, we all know we're lying. We all know we're not happy. The majority of us are scared. The majority of us are worried. The majority of us are avoiding the deeper places we need to go. And even the spiritual community has went that direction. It's all about money. Plant medicine is about money, but it's called energy exchange over there in that neck of the woods. But the lessons are there in front of us in the indigenous tribes. If you want to know how to live, look at the indigenous tribes. Look what they do. They don't have the technology we have. They don't have all the supermarkets at the touch of a corner store and all the knowledge at the touch of a finger. They don't have that. But yet they're happier. They're more content. They're peaceful. They love each other. They support each other. Because when we have less as a collective, we have more as a community. We start to realize we aren't the center of the universe. We start to realize how important it is to be surrounded by others who are on a similar path and are willing to support us. And that's been lost in this corporate world where it's all about image and perception and not about substance. But like I've been through this. I realize this because, if you're into astrology like I am, they've got the Cancer and Libra and the Capricorn and Aries. We went through a 16-year karmatic cycle. Now, some people may go, "What's woo-woo?" Let me fucking tell you. Holy fuck, am I glad I'm out of that routine. I'm looking back at my last 16 years. Bankruptcy, losing 4 businesses, 7 children, pregnancies, whatever you want to call them, I call them children. 4 relationships, 2 hips, God knows how many suicide attempts, financially ruined every time. I've been through the hell, but you know what I've realized? Through all that hell and all that suffering and all that struggle, the times when I was at my lowest point, I had people come around to me and hold me, support me. And that's when I felt at my best. It wasn't about the money. I'm materialistic. I like my drones. I like my technology. I like all that type of stuff. But it's superficial. And if someone said to me, you can only have the people you love around you, but have nothing except what you need, or you can have all you want except the people you love, I know what I'd choose. I know what the vast majority would choose. But we can't seem to recognize that. Oh, here we go. Why did they do this? Your end will live. We have detective inactivity. Now you're not going to let me do anything about it. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Very strange, that, isn't it? Yeah. I see the world changing soon. I see us waking up and recognizing what truly matters. And I think the sooner that happens, the better. I'm always about balance. The energies, we're out of balance again. There was a point where, our grandparents' day, our great-grandparents' day, life was out of balance. Life was hard. Struggle was every day. Death was around the corner. It was like life was not as valuable even, and it wasn't certainly as long. But along that journey, we came out of balance on the other end now. I've been on TikTok, mate, for a year now, a couple of years now. But we're out of balance. We're too reliant on technology. Like, we were talking about this. I'm an artist. I'm pretty good at my drawing. I'm very good at creating. And the guy that does my tattoos, Tommy Gunn, from Belfast City Skin Works, he's been tattooing me since I was like 19, 20. And so Tommy and I are very good friends. And he was showing me the AI art. And I'd done a bit of AI art as well. But it's ruining it. Because the thing about art is the art's expression. Art is about energy. I'm going to draw a picture. I'm going to put that time into it. I'm going to put that energy in it. There's appreciation. There's effort. There's love has gone into it. Now I just need to write a wee script, and the art is going to be 10 times better than I can do. So much more detailed in seconds. But it's hollow. It's empty. It's life. It's soulless. That's what I find about art. That's why I appreciate art so much, because art is about individualism. Do you know, there's a man or a woman sees something that no one else sees, and they're able to put it down on paper or carving. And that's it's an expression from within. It's done with love. Trust me, you cannot make a masterpiece. You cannot draw a beautiful picture without the essence of love being there. I'm obsessed with sound therapy, right? That's where I'm going. I'm going down the route of sound therapy. Cymatics, gongs, Tibetan bowls. Just spent $5,500 on all the equipment. I've been obsessed with this for years, right? I love it. But the other day, in fact, it happened twice. Once with someone come in, Soda came in, and then Gail came in. Gail was looking after my dog for me. And Soda was come in the other day. And I didn't know they were here. I was just, boom. It was like I was at one with the gong. And there's something about that's lacking in society today. Do you know that living in the moment, where you're just at one with something, like you're at one with the pen, and that if you're an artist, you'll understand this. You're drawing. Nothing else matters. No, you're unaware of the outside world. At that moment in time, the only reality exists is you and that bit of paper. Well, for me, it's like I can see it before it's happened, and I know where the lines to go, and I know if a line's off before I've shaded it, and I know what depth to put the pencil in. It's that discovery of the man, the pencil, the paper, and time stops. It's the same for me on the gongs. Time stops, and you sort of get lost in that moment. And especially with the gong, the resonance, the frequencies, the build up. It's like layers. It's so beautiful. Maybe it's just for me. I don't know, but I love the way when I play that gong. It's never the same. It's always different. And it's almost like the spirit of the gong takes you, and you just know how to hit it, where to hit it, when to hit it, how hard to hit it. And it's like you hit it and it's just, and you go to hit it again, but you know you shouldn't. You just no, let that vibration play out. And it takes you, and it's beautiful, and that's what we're after. This is what we're all after, the moment. This is what people need to recognize. You need to discover what makes you happy, what makes your soul sing, and then pursue it. Fuck everyone else's opinion, because everyone else's opinion is like an asshole. We've all got one, and they're usually full of shit. We've been so conditioned to care about and be more concerned about what other people think about our endeavours that we actually lock ourselves away and don't do it anymore. From 2025, I'm starting sound baths. I've already ordered all the. I'm going to turn that area down there. I'm going to have black curtains. I'm going to have got Shakti mats ordered. I've got weighted eye masks. I've gotten cotton blankets. And I'm going to give it an experience, because most of us are so busy that we don't carve out any time for us. And I'm telling you, when you just give yourself an hour to just breathe, to just relax, it's a game changer. And see, when you hear those notes, honestly, the things I put up on here, they don't do it justice. You can't hear those deep undertones, the build-up, like that gong. It sings. It's got this woman's voice behind it that just sometimes makes an appearance, and when she does, it's like, whoa. It's the most beautiful sound. Like, we're doing drumming circles. I don't know if anyone's interested, but we're doing drumming circles as well here. Next one's next Wednesday. So we're getting drum circles, shamanic drums. I've got tom-toms, we've got djembe drums, and and this is the whole thing. It's the community. If you've never been in a drumming circle, you ever drummed with other people, the energetic feeling, just that beat, it goes inside of you, and it's ancestral. There's something about it. When you're with others, it brings you back to that tribal ancestral experience where we were all around the fire and there was nothing to do, and we were doing it because we were enjoying it, the connection. I think we've got to remove the layers, the identities, the labels that we've attached to what we do and why we're embarrassed to do what we do, and just connect with a child like, I don't know, harmony, almost like, I see my two kids, they teach me so much. When I come in, we'll do things, and they just immerse themselves in it because they enjoy it. And if you just open yourself up, I was very closed off. I think I was very closed off because I had to be closed off to learn how to open up so I could teach others how to do the same. If you understood who I was and how defensive I was back in the day, you'd be like, whoa, he's changed. I have. The ayahuasca and the mushrooms and the bufo, it's changed my life completely. I'd be embarrassed. For years, I'd be embarrassed to talk about love. I'd been embarrassed to cry. I'd be embarrassed to talk about emotions and traumas. But do you know what? That is me. That was me playing to what I believe society demanded. That was the fear of judgment. That was the emotion. That was the traumas from the past that we all carry. And this, we're all energetically the same, just the experience is different. And our goal here in life is to shed what isn't ours. Too many of us hold on to labels and identities, like putting on armor, more armor, more armor, more armor, in the way to protect ourselves. But what happens when you put more and more armor on? It weighs you down, it tires you out, and eventually you're just fucked. And the goal of this life is to be free, it's to be loose, it's to be open. You take that armor off, you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you accept the fact that some people are going to stab you. Some people are going to want to see you fail. But that's not your job, that's their job. You've got to let them be them and go on their journey and recognize that the words they say about you isn't about you. It's a reflection of how they feel about them. They're just projecting it onto you because they don't like what you're doing, because it's a threat to them. Your confidence, your ability to step into the true self is so overwhelming for them that they must put you down. And that's how we live in this world today. And that's why it's so sad and so depressing to see so many of us hating on each other, when the truth is we're actually jealous because the people that we're hating are doing things that we want to do ourselves, and that we have got the ability within ourselves to do that. It just takes the courage to step into that version of myself. Every one of us has the ability to become whoever it is we want to be. It's just how much are you willing to sacrifice of the old self, and how much are you willing to step in to those areas that have held you back for so many years. It's there for us all to take. Next year is going to be the year for me. I'm telling you that right now. I'm excited for next year. I can't wait to get the sound baths going. I cannot wait to just be able to provide that for people, and just because I know it's done for me and I know it does for everyone else. And I can't wait to bring that to more people. Because when you can feel better about yourself, you'll start thinking better about yourself. And when you start thinking better about yourself, you'll be willing to do things that are going to change the physical appearance. And that then becomes the encompassment. You become more whole. And we're too fragmented. All of us are chasing belonging and wholeness. But we're doing it through the words and advice of others. And we're not listening to the inner voice. We're not listening to that higher self that knows what we need to do and understands where we need to go. But we're drowning it out from the noise of everyone else. And there's a quote I remember saying, sometimes a whisper in your ear has more impact than 1,000 people screaming. And if you just silence yourself, if you just allow yourself to sit and just listen, your higher self will tell you where you need to be. You already know it. You can feel it. Every one of us has a dream. Every one of us has a belief that we could be more. We know we could do more and be more, but the constraints of societal fucking norms are holding us back. And it's not really that that's holding us back, it's us. It's our fears of judgment, our fears of others' opinions, our fears of failure. That is what prevents us from stepping in and trying. But guess what? When we don't try, we remain stagnant, and nothing lives in stagnant water. Do you know, and it's ironic that we fear stepping into the version of ourselves we're meant to be so that we can become who we want to be. But by not doing so, ensures that we never change and that we stay where we are, where we don't want to be. It's insane. It's a conundrum. We are such complex creatures, aren't we? And the other crazy thing is, everyone is the same. And if we could all see each other as the same, the fragment of God, we would change instantly. We all smile when we see children dancing. Children dancing makes us happy. Children laughter and, playing. As adults, we stand and smile. We're those children. We all can do that. James, how are you doing, mate? Are we in tonight? Are we down tonight? Don't know. Are you coming down tonight? Are you busy? What's the story? Just let us know. Either way. Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. And yes, okay, mate. I'll see you later on tonight then. What time? 8 o'clock? Okay. So, folks.